Okay, right, the stream is now working on my side. Yeah, that's all good now. I couldn't see my own stream. Right, let's double check. It's appearing. There we go. We are now officially live. Let me just see if I can mute myself. Okay, so welcome to this week's episode of Techie Tuesdays. Today we'll be analysing the RedLine info stealer, one of the most common types of malware currently seen in the market. Not necessarily just the market of the underground sort of malware area, but also just in terms of the internet, because the source code for RedLine stealer was recently leaked a few months back. So anyone can create their own versions or deploy their own instances of RedLine stealer. Now the RedLine stealer says it's available for $100 to $150 depending on the version, or even on a subscription basis. This is true, but outdated in the sense that anyone can deploy their own types of malware for free because the source code is free. Says it collects saved credentials, autocomplete data, and credit card information. However, it also takes cookie data, which can be used to steal YouTube accounts, which are utilized for a lot of the malware distribution. If you are interested in like the gaming side of YouTube and ever come across like a video, like a dodgy video with low views, which is on a strange YouTube account, it looks like it's been stolen and they're uploading YouTube videos about cheats and stuff, that's most likely RedLine, because people have modified versions of RedLine stealer which auto create videos on the YouTube channels of the hacked victims and spread the malware further. So that's one of the main vectors of spreading this virus. So it says more recent versions are still cryptocurrency, FTP, and IAM clients. It also has the ability to upload and download files, execute commands, and periodically send back information about the infected computer. So it can easily just be sitting somewhere in your environment. But this can affect like low user / any companies that don't have sufficient EDR solution. Let's say if you had some legacy solution and didn't have something like SentinelOne EDR, for example, that would be a vector for someone to break into your environment using the RedLine stealer. Because if you have the source code, you can create a polymorphic builder. The only thing they have to do to edit the hash from the file, which is how legacy malware is detected, the only thing they have to do is just create a string with an arbitrary value inside of it, and because the hash is based on the checksum, which is the internal code of that virus, because it's different, it'll be a different hash, which means it'll be undetected. And that's not including newer methods like virtualization, obfuscation, packing, malware dropping, lateral movement. So that's just one of the many ways that someone can create a fully undetected version of RedLine stealer. So you can see there's a lot of references here for the RedLine stealer. It's a very, very common info stealer, but it's also used in conjunction with many other different viruses such as Agent Tesla, Async Rat, and you can see Raccoon, which is Raccoon is created by a group of Russians who are actually, I think a few of them were arrested. It was either in Russia or a Middle Eastern country. One of them, a few of their developers actually went to prison, but that's besides the point. So let's have a look on this demo machine, and I've searched up on MalwareBazaar RedLine stealer. Well, let me type it in actually. Tag RedLine. And you can see there are a bunch of examples of RedLine stealer, and they're being uploaded pretty much every 10 minutes or so, which is quite scary to say the least. you can see that there's 32-bit and 64-bit versions of RedLine Stealer. I need to have a check of what it's written in. RedLine source code. So here's the decompiled source code. It's written in C#, looks like. Yeah, written in C#. So, oh wow, that's a bit toxic. Yeah, you can see it's written in C# there. That's why there are 32-bit and 64-bit versions of RedLine Stealer, because of how .NET is compatible with both x86-64, which has the compatibility with 64-bit and 32-bit. So it's not just new machines, it's also older machines and older architectures. So what we'll do, I'm just going to download this one. I've got SentinelOne currently on detect mode. Let's go to my policy quickly. You can see I am, let's go into my demo group. Double check what my endpoint is on. Oh, this isn't disconnected. I think we'll move over to the development environment. Oh no, I'm online. I think I might be in a pinned group. Here we go. There we go. Right, so this is my current group. My policy is on detect. Divisibility is enabled, focused file monitoring. And yep, so we're just going to find this malware, going to run it, see what it can do, see what type of version of RedLine it might be, if it's the open source version where they're just doing the default commands, or if it's actually something malicious, more malicious than that. So if you are going to be using live malware or any sort of adversary simulation on your environment, make sure it's in a virtual environment that is away from any of your current, away from anything that's actually connected to your organization. Otherwise, there's a risk that you run where the malware could be so advanced that it spreads out of your virtual environment and actually infects the rest of your organization. So let's go into computer, C drive. Download. And let's drop this down here. Let's see if SentinelOne picks this up as malicious or suspicious. Selected. So this will kick in the static AI engines. Let's see if SentinelOne does anything about it. Straight away it detects it as malicious. That's actually new, because whenever I used to unzip RedLine Stealer onto a test environment, it would detect it as suspicious. So it's actually already seen potential. Yeah, so it looks like I had two different versions of RedLine before. So this one has higher obfuscation, it's encrypted or compressed data, and it's straight away it's trying to import functions that raise kernel exceptions and imports debugger functions. And the virus total threat enrichment, that shows up as malicious anyway. Yeah, so you can see the community talking here. Let's view threat details. Yep, so the static AI policy. This is not based on a file hash, because if it was, you wouldn't have the indicators on the right. So let's just run it, see what happens. think the VM is just a little bit slow. Let's try and. There we go. Let's open this, and SentinelOne detected it as malicious once again. Management console. And you can see if you ungroup by hash, you can see the same threat. However, in the SentinelOne cloud, actually, it looks like it's already appended what SentinelOne has done based on its AI engine, as it's found the file hash from the static threat and actually appended it to the SentinelOne cloud. So I think if we were to do a test like this again, I would actually disconnect the machine from the internet, so file hash detections weren't shown. But you can already see that there's some reconnaissance going on. View threat details. I wonder if it's running on Task Manager. So let's go into threat details. So currently 2 threat indicators. Suspicious WMI query is identified. Let's explore the threat. As usual, RedLine usually utilizes WRFault as a lol bin. Starts trying to open up certain ports, it looks like. This could be for encrypted traffic. Network actions, I think this will be the source. This is the C2 server. This is likely a bulletproof hosting provider. Let's do a who is. And let's see who this is. Oh, it's actually looks like an RDP connection. So it's actually tried to open up. Yeah, so it's not Azure, but it could be. It's just a Microsoft hosted server. Let's have a look on our Task Manager. And let's see if it's still running somewhere. I'm not 100% sure if it's running. Looks like all of these are. Okay, so this is unsigned. That's strange. So it looks like because it couldn't connect to the C2 server, it's just sort of crapped itself. There doesn't seem to be any more reconnaissance or malicious threats here. So I'll quickly show you how to mitigate these threats if you haven't set up your policy for detect or protect. So to select all of the threats up here, just press this and it will aggregate all of them in a single click. Go to threat actions, mitigation action. And what we're going to do is we're going to do rollback, mark as resolved. Actually, we'll do remediate because there wasn't any sort of malicious, it wasn't sort of any sort of encryption. Nothing was necessarily being exfiltrated. There was like a single WMI query. There was like a WRFault sub-process being created. However, I don't think there's a need for rollback in this case. If you are infected with RedLine, I would always recommend using rollback because I'm on a test environment. It doesn't matter too much to me. Mark as a true positive and press apply. And you can see straight away the threat is being mitigated and the device is now uninfected. The user will get a notification, and if they click on it, they will be notified with this, and they'll be told that they're overall secure. You can close that down, and you can see the original exe file is missing. And that is how to analyze the RedLine stealer. If you have any questions, you can contact me on LinkedIn, or you can get in contact with us officially at info@cybervigilance.uk. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next week.